and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we're going to acquaint you with a really special program going on in Hampton, primarily in Hampton, to work with at-risk youth. It's the Promise program run through Hampton University. And my guest is the head of that program right now, Jabari Colon. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
And one of the participants, Alijah Porter. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell us, let's start, Jabari, with what the need is for this program and how it got funded.
Okay.
Because people have a lot of great ideas.
Definitely.
And the money to do them is tough to come by.
Yeah, it definitely is. Just want to say I'm not the head of the program.
Okay, sorry.
Totally. But I am have the opportunity to serve as the head mentor this year. So
you're the face I see. Every time
Yes.
there's a booth or recruiting,
correct,
you're out
correct.
there.
Yes, that's my thing. I like to be out and touch the community on the ground level. So this program was actually funded through something called MMHI, Minority Men's Health Initiative, which has an affiliation with Hampton University. And so that's where the funding came from. It was the idea of the president, Dr. Harvey, to initiate this program, given the state of young black men in America right now.
Well, let's talk about that just for a second, because I think people in general like to think of violence and at-risk youth as a police issue.
Okay.
And it is a health issue. And that's what, Cities United and Hampton United and some of the other groups are saying. It threatens the health of young black men who end up victims of violence.
It does.
And perpetrators too. But it's become, numbers-wise, a real problem for young African Americans.
Definitely. They're definitely the most at risk, and it's definitely a health issue because you're dealing with their lives and them staying alive. And so that's the priority, is to keep them alive, because nothing else can be accomplished without them being alive.
That's right. Okay, so you got the funding, and then how does the program work?
Well, the program works is first, of course, the funding has been put in place, and then there had to be a curriculum that was developed. This is a curriculum-driven program. We're not just getting guys together and talking. So we have a curriculum. So it's not
kind of Big Brother mentor. It's not where you go and have fun. You guys have stuff you're going to do with them or talk about with them.
That's correct. And there are activities that we do as well.
Because you got to build trust.
Yeah, we have fun too. We have fun too, but it is also a curriculum. I think a lot of times violence comes from a lack of education. When you have a lack of education, you feel like you're in a position, if you don't have certain skills and certain education, your options are limited. And so that drives people to go and do violent acts and commit crimes so they can support themselves and their families. So an education is a major part of violence prevention. And so that's why we've implemented that into the program. And so we have different sessions. And so the first year was a developmental year in which the curriculum was created. And then there also had to be some type of data component to this. We want to collect some data to understand what works and what does not work. And so that was created in the first year.
There's no point in wasting your time on the stuff that doesn't work.
Exactly.
We all need to model the programs that do work.
Correct. And that's a good point that you make, and I'll speak on that in a minute. So the first year they created the curriculum. The second year was actually bringing a cohort of 60 young black men in Hampton and Newport News to the program, which is on Saturday at Hampton University in Armstrong Hall. That was the first year of students, and that's when I met Alijah. Alijah was in my group last year. He stood out as somebody who was very well spoken. He was a great example of behavior within the group. And so that's one of the reasons why he's back today, because he's a great peer mentor to the other guys.
So let's stop for a second then and let's talk to Alijah. And I don't want to pry too much into your personal life here on TV, but when I first asked you why you were identified, you kind of said, I don't know. Like, I got a call out of the blue, and you were a good kid, you hadn't been in trouble, but you have some tough circumstances in your life. You've been in at least 3 foster homes. You've bounced back and forth a little bit with your birth family. You've had a lot of times when you could have taken a wrong turn and didn't. And obviously, someone saw that in you, referred you to this program. Mm-hmm. What was it like, that first year?
I want to say when you first joined the program, honestly, it's like you don't want to be there. But I guess it gets
you feel
to the
like
point,
you were like, I was dragged into this.
Yeah.
It's one more thing the system is making me do that I don't want to do.
Yes, ma'am. But it's like once you start to get into knowing the people and becoming friends and making more connections and building more bridges, you start to learn that it's kind of fun. I mean, they had lessons. There's been boring times where they talked on and on and on, but at least they had jokes and stuff. We was playing, we connected as a family more than as trying to grow ourselves as people. And, they helped us with our community, not just us, but our community, help us become better, our community become better. Honestly, if I had to say something to people, it's, send your children there. They're not going to like it, but in the first few weeks, you're going to see a dramatic change between who he was then and how he is now.
So what was your incentive for going? Like, were you forced to go? Was there, what made you come back each week?
At first, to be honest, it was the food, because they had some good food.
Wow, the way to a man's heart, right?
That's
okay.
Right.
But I started growing on people. They started growing on me. Like I said, I started connecting to them as a family more than just as mentors and peers. So, I kept coming back because I started to learn how I could become better not just for myself, but for other people.
So when you say family, is that the mentors, or is that the kids that were in the program with you, or is it everybody? Everybody together?
It's everybody.
Mm-hmm. And what he mentioned as far as not wanting to be there initially, that is the case for the majority of the guys. And that's tough on us as facilitators.
Nobody wants to be told, here's how you should run your life,
Right. And we're not, and it's, we're not really telling them how to live their life, but I understand
but they feel
that's
that
how
way
they perceive it.
They're like, yeah.
And that's how they perceive it.
And you guys, who aren't that much older, you probably think they're, they're they're not you.
Well, my job as a facilitator is just to, I do a little bit of teaching, but it's really just to create discussion with them. And that's the difference between what we do in the classroom, is that they're encouraged to speak in the Promise program. Mm-hmm. And the beautiful part of the Promise program is, just like he said, initially he didn't like it. He wasn't feeling it.
Sure.
But at the end of the program, you see the change and you see the shift from them not being interested to them being fully engaged, not wanting the program to end, asking can they come back next year. Mm-hmm. So we've figured out how to make self-improvement cool.
That is kind of amazing. I'm a little bit speechless.
It is.
And so you brought Alijah back for the second year.
Yes, we wanted to bring him back because that's part of the program as well, as when they're participants, they're being served. But we want to also instill in them the value of being of service. And so now he's back in a service role and being able to contribute to class and be in a role model for the other guys who are in the program. He can help guide them because he was in the program last year. And so where he was maybe in the beginning of the program last year, he can relate to that and kind of speak to those things to get them to kind of understand what the program is really about and what the benefit is.
I mean, that's got to be kind of hard, Alijah, because in my life, I sometimes feel like I'm barely keeping my own head above water. How can I give back? Mm-hmm. How can I, serve others? How can I do that if I am barely surviving? And how did you get to that point where you saw the community, you saw the service aspect? It's not easy.
It's not. Only real answer I give you is that my mom just raised me not to be a fool. She always told me that if there's somebody that's going to help you become better or help you help your community, then you should always take the opportunity. It was hard at first. I didn't want to go, like he said. But once you, like I said, warm up to people, you start to see that not everybody's against you. There's some people out here that who want to help you, want to make you better. And I guess he just brought me back. So I was like, when he brought me back, I was like, word? Okay. And I felt honored to come back to the Promise program because it is a great place to be.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
So what happens next? How much funding do you have? You guys are winding up your second year.
Yes, we
with
are
kids.
right pretty much smack dab in the middle of the second year of the second cycle of kids that we bring in. We have 60 young men, young black males in Hampton and Newport News. We bus them in. And so they're picked
That's
up in
awesome.
different
So you go get
locations. We
'em.
have transportation for them.
So that wipes away one of the big handicaps
Exactly.
to facilitation is that you got to get people there.
Definitely. We feed them, as Elijah mentioned. We give
Hey,
them
that's
snacks and
incentive.
food, we give them a meal. And they also have a stipend. They get $10 every time that they come. So it's an opportunity for them to earn some income and learn how to manage some money, and also learn that when you do the right thing, you get rewarded. And so that's kind of a lesson that they learn with this program.
Yeah,
And
because
so-
that's not always, the case
Yep.
if you're in tough
That's
circumstances.
correct. So we are right in the middle of the second year. Next year will be our last year for a cohort of young men. And then the final year, what we'll do is because this is a data-driven program, we'll collect all the data. These young men have to fill out a questionnaire before the program and after program. And we try to track and see how their behavior has changed from the program. And it has been changing. From last year, we've seen some of the violent behaviors go down, and attitudes of violence go down from last year. So the program is working.
That's awesome.
It is.
There's a lot of studies nationwide about this issue, about violence, and a lot of it seems to be frustration and anger at their circumstances, and people who don't, it's the natural way to solve things. And the other one is men don't talk about feelings or
Right.
about situations.
That's true.
No, they do not.
It's how do you make those, and that's probably what you're talking about in terms of this curriculum. It's
Yeah.
not easy for anyone to open up who's maybe got their guard up because they have to. But it's harder for our men and our
is.
young men in particular.
It is. A lot of men in particular, they don't know how to express their emotion. And so they are sad about certain issues, but because they don't know how to express the sadness, or they are macho and they don't want to show that, they
Right.
don't want to show that vulnerable side, it gets expressed through anger. And that's what we try to address, is there's other ways to deal with situations than anger. A lot of times these guys are not, they're not bad guys. They're just a little misguided and a little misled, and so that's why we're there to try to put them back on the right track.
So Elijah's over there nodding. How do you feel? Do you feel like over the past year and a half or however long it's been that you've changed, or that your life path has changed? Like if I'd asked you before this started, where are you going to be in 2 years, or what's your career path, what would you have said?
Definitely, my perspective on life has changed thanks to the program. If you was asking me where I want to be from 2 years from now, I haven't really thought that far. I just know that what's in front of me, I have to take care of what's in front of me before I can go to the future right now, because
Too much on your
Yeah,
much
it's
in
too much.
survival to think about long term.
Yeah. I mean, but I know 10, 20 years from now I want to have my own company. I know that much. But
Hey, that's
as far as my baby
something.
steps,
Would you have known that 2 years ago?
No.
Okay.
Not really, because the Promise program took a lot of stress off my mind. It was a lot of things I had to think about, but when I came to Promise program, it helped me calm down, helped me think more clear. So I know that 10, 20 years from now, I want my own company, help people. There's a lot of things I want to do, but I got to focus on the majority of it before I can get to what I can do in the future.
So your focus right now is finishing high school. And tell us where you're in school and what you're studying.
I'm in New Horizons Regional Educational Center. It's a two-part school. The first school is for career tech, which is basically auto body, cosmetology, carpentry. I do carpentry. That means I build houses. I can fix windows and, basically anything that involves around building. So the second half of the school is, I want to say, a behavioral school for kids that misbehave. I've been in that for about 6 years, and I've definitely evolved from being a bad kid to a gentleman. In there, I'm doing my main core classes, Algebra 1, my science, biology, stuff like that. passed my SOLs. I'm glad because, you know, I haven't really passed my SOLs, but I've been getting them out the way. And I'm graduating this year, so I'm happy about that too. And then, you know, it's just, I'm happy. So much stuff is lined out this year, you know. I'm happy that it's going all great.
Well, and having a skill and a trade gives you a future as a high school diploma helps, but having a career path, you know, I didn't think about that when I graduated from high school. You're not necessarily in a career mode, but I think kids these days have to be much more focused than, you know, I did.
Yeah, and you have to be thinking first of all.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't understand how important that is to actually think about your actions. And then what are going to be the next steps? And that's important. And I think that's some things that we try to instill in our students as well. We did a college prep session last year. And one of the participants said he didn't want to go to college before that. Now he does. And so that's what we want to do. We want to try to instill goals in these young men, because if they have goals, they have hope. And if they have hope, they have more reasons to stay out of trouble and to stay alive. And that's what we're all about.
Yeah, I think, you know, hopelessness is the worst thing, because then you don't have any incentive.
Exactly.
You don't have any reason. You're, you know, lost and frustrated. Did you feel hopeless some of the time? Good.
Not anymore.
Did you? Did you?
At first, I mean, it wasn't.
At other points in your life, maybe?
Yeah, it wasn't as much as hopeless. It was more like nobody's gonna help me type mood. But I feel like I said, since I came to Promise Program, I feel like there's more people out there that want to help me instead of be against me.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, is there anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Well, we are still looking, even though we have some funding, we're looking for more funding because there's only a certain amount of things that we can do. We would like to do more. We're also looking for, we have some great partnerships in the community, and we have a community board that consists of judges and several community agencies. So we're looking for more partners who want to support a program like this. There's a lot of talk about mentoring, and this is a program that's actually putting that talk into action, and you can see it's having an effect. And this isn't about necessarily just about Hampton University. This is or young black men. This is about the community as a whole in Hampton and Newport News that we're trying to make better. So if anybody would like to support that, we need more support within the community. We need more mentors within the community as well. So if you're interested in that, you can email mvprp@hamptonu.edu.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you
for
all
having
you do.
us.
And thank you for being willing to share your story, because it's not everybody is. It's real personal stuff that you've gone through. So clearly I can tell your program has helped him open up, because that's hard to do. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I hope you've learned a lot more about this program and how it's working with folks in our community to help get them on the right path to being wonderful contributors to our society. Thanks for watching.